Holly Schindler here, taking a few minutes away from my writing today to say hello to my readers, especially Ms. Brown's class in Halfway, Missouri, and to talk a little bit about my book, The Junction of Sunshine and Lucky. Everyone always wants to know where I got the idea for The Junction of Sunshine and Lucky. And to a great extent, I just got it by looking around me. I have always loved weird, funky tchotchkes, always have since I went on auctions with my folks when I was a little girl. And I continue to pick up just weird stuff every time I go flea marketing, antique storing. Love these guys. Got them at an estate sale. I think these guys have got to show up in a book somewhere. I don't know who they are yet, but they are great. Found this at an old garage sale, just a rusted old piece of metal somebody put into a flower. Reminds you of something, maybe the flowers at Augie and Gus's house. Here is a gourd somebody got the idea to carve into and cover with jewels. A box somebody turned into a purse. I just love all the weird, funky things that people, ways people use their own creative juices. I love it. And that is a big part of where I got the idea for Augie and Gus being folk artists. I've been writing since I was a little girl. I remember writing short stories and illustrating them at the desk in my room, even before I was in the first grade. This is a story I put together when I was 10 years old. Still got my award on it. It's getting a little brittle now, but I took it to a young authors conference at Missouri State University when I was in the 4th grade. And you can see, I typed it up. I gave it some basic illustrations. I cut some pictures out of magazines and catalogs, it looks like, in order to give it some illustration. It's obviously not what I would do today, but it's what I was doing when I was 10. And it just goes to show you, how you improve over time. You improve a lot over time. I think that creativity, in all honesty, is a muscle, and it gets stronger the more you use it. Just like, you don't become a great runner by never running. You've got to get out there and put in some sweat. You've got to run every day to get stronger. You've got to play ball every day to get better at it. You've got to practice your piano in order to become a better piano player, musician. Writing is the same way. You just have to keep at it in order to get better and better as you go along. And it doesn't always have to be you alone in your room with a notebook. Tell a story to your friend. Tell them something funny that happened to you that day. That counts. That's you learning what makes a good story. You get immediate, reaction from your friend. Did they laugh? Did they roll their eyes? You find out immediately, what kind of stories work. What gets a good reaction. And another thing that you've got to work on. Nobody likes to hear this, but your grammar. Punctuation is how you get those inflections on the page. When you're telling a story to your friend, your voice rises and falls. You have kind of dramatic pauses. You might have sound effects. You get that when you write a story by learning your grammar. You get commas, exclamation points, can emphasize sentences. It can tell a reader where to pause. Your paragraphs help your reader understand where to pause, and it gives a kind of pace to your story on the page, the same way it would if you were telling a story out loud. Grammar is really important. So, all those grammar lessons you've got now, just gobble them up and take them in. They're great because they're going to allow you to get, your point across when you're writing a story on the page. Now, for those of you who write, I've got some questions for you. The Junction came out in 2014, so it's basically been 2 years since we last heard from Augie. What do you think she's doing now? Do you think she and Gus are still making their sculptures? Do you think Gus is still driving his old truck? Do you think that Augie and Lexi and Ernestine are all still friends? How has Augie's life changed? You know, those are the kinds of questions when you're an author you have to ask to keep your book moving along. You ask yourself what if questions all the time. So answer those questions and tell me a story of your own. I'd love to hear what you think happened to Augie and Gus. Hey guys, just wanted to say thanks for reading The Junction of Sunshine and Lucky and for loving Augie as much as I do. And now I think it's time for all of us to get back to work. Thanks again.